Okay folks, I am standing in front of the visitor center at Chiricahua National Monument, located in southeastern Arizona. The closest town would be Bowie or Wilcox. I'm going to check out the things here. Talked to the ranger inside. He said best time is late September, the tail end of the monsoon season. You get wildflower blooms and lots of other cool things. The weather's not so fierce and the crowds are not bad. Probably will take a look at the campground on the way out, and then Faraway Ranch also. Off we go. I think the plan is to head up towards Bonita Creek Campground and Massai Point. Let's go. This spot right here was the one I was going to pick for tonight. I did pick it on the recreation.gov. It looks like a nice site, but it's going to be pretty brisk tonight, wind-wise and temperature-wise, so another time. But looks like a nice campground. I'm at the very top of the scenic drive, which is a place called Massai Point, and it's a good overview of the whole park. You can connect to a bunch of other trails. One thing I did notice from my research here, that you can connect a lot of trails and do a big giant loop, which is almost 9 miles and takes about 5 to 6 hours, which I don't have today. Let's look at the map for a second. I'm up here at the top, the uppermost portion of the drive. There's a little exhibit area. So you go down there. I'm planning on doing the Echo Canyon Trail, and then working my way back down to the park entrance and on to Tucson. You can add these up quickly. Massai Point, Inspiration Point, Heart of Rocks Loop, Perimeter Loop, plus the Heart of Rocks Loop. There is no further paved road beyond this point, which loops around and goes back down, but you can combine things. Definitely want to check this out some more, but for now we're going to do this. Come on. Now, all these weird shaped rocks that you see, they're very interesting. You have columns, balanced rocks, pinnacles, all formed through various joints and solid pieces of rock. Over time, those joints widened due to water, erosion, and weathering that will continue to shape these rocks. This is Massai Point at Chiricahua National Monument. Nice panoramic view of the surrounding area. Hey, Future Craig here. If you're liking this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the best way for YouTube to get it out to other people. And stay tuned to the rest of this video to see this small yet interesting and diverse park. Thanks. Some of these are not going to turn out on camera very well, but this little tube here points out some viewpoints on the trail. Right there, directly across from us, which is 40 miles away, is the Dragoon Mountains, which was a stronghold for the Apache under Cochise, 1876. Let's go left, so we'll go forwards. I can't really see it because it's hazy or dusty. Straight out there is Saguaro National Park, 70 miles away. That is like a mountain, 8,700 feet, 75 miles from this point. Pretty crazy. This is the highest point accessible in the park, called Sugarloaf Peak. On the top of it, you can probably see a little structure. That's a fire tower, or a fire lookout. Here, you have the Heart of Rocks Trail. If you follow that V of the rocks right there, there's a totem pole, which at some point is 4 feet around at the base. So it's very narrow. One of these days it's going to fall over. If you look down to the canyons, you can see a lot of interesting trees. Douglas fir, ponderosa, thriving in that moist environment. Over here, there is a mountain known as Fly's Peak, one of the 2 highest peaks in the Chiricahua Mountains, almost 10,000 feet up. There is asphalt there, indicating a cool, wet climate on the top. And then lastly, there's a top formation called the Mushroom. One thing that's happening as we speak is the process of weathering and a particular plant called lichen, which forms the green and gray colors on the rock. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's actually a fungi and an algae that work together, and they release a very weak acid which contributes to weathering of rocks. One thing to think about is all landscapes, but it seems to be more prominent in a landscape like this, are undergoing a continuous process of change. As heat, cold, rain, wind, like today, that just helps break up these formations and make them what they are today. Some of them look like faces or heads or something. Of course, one thing I've talked a lot about in previous videos is the establishment of wilderness. The Wilderness Act, even though Aldo Leopold was paramount in getting legislation to set aside the wilderness, that was a full 40 years before that happened. The Wilderness Act came about in 1964, and here in Chiricahua they designated 9,440 as Class 1 pristine wilderness. One of the last strongholds of the Apache was the Dragoon Mountains, which I've already pointed out earlier. Straight across over here on the western horizon, they were named from the Dragoons, which was the cavalry who could fight on foot and horseback. He often retired, Cochise, with his people to hide out from the military, and when he died they buried him in those mountains and no one's ever been able to find it. Pretty crazy to think about. Rincon Peak and Mica Mountain. Rincon is 70 miles away and Mica is 80 miles away. They're visible, maybe not on the camera that I'm showing you right now, but they're definitely out there. But we do have air pollution that is contributing to this. So the Clean Air Act was established to try to clean up the air. We still have lots of things that contribute to impairment. Nitrates, sulfates, coarse materials, elemental carbons, organic matter, and so on. Now inside the monument itself, there's all these different things to check out. Whatever time of year it is, make sure you try to check out whatever you can. This is a map of the monument. We are at the east side of the monument, in the park, plants, animals, etc. The night sky has fascinated people, and you might see some really cool things if you are out here at night. So if you look here, this is talking about wilderness, which we touched on before. Only a very small portion of the monument is wilderness. It says 10,290 acres. The Coronado National Forest, which is also part of the Chiricahua and is also named the Chiricahua Wilderness, is 87,700 acres. One thing we can do to help is the leave no trace principles. They call this a sky island. Sky islands are places that species can come as refuge. They're more like remnant species, but they're isolated through the surroundings and form their own ecosystem in that particular place, which is why they set aside Chiricahua in the first place. This talks about nature's sculptures. This is what caused the volcano itself. Then in the very middle here, we have a little scale model of the monument. Looks like a brain. Some of these stones look like heads. This is Cochise's head. If you look right there, he's laying on his back. His head is sticking up there. There's his nose, eyebrow. Pretty crazy. I'm going to continue down the hill here and go to Echo, I think it's called Echo Canyon, to try to do a hike there. Hope you'll join me. So, probably spent a little too long at Massai Point, but it was pretty amazing. I don't have time to do the entire Echo Canyon loop trail, but I will do it another time. Let's take a look at the map here. So Echo Canyon Trail goes here in a big loop with the Ed Riggs Trail and the Hailstone Trail making the entire loop. Goes among the pinnacles to Bonita Creek, usually dry, before circling back. I need to be in Tucson by 8 o'clock. I just go to the Grottos, which is showing on the map here. 1 mile, 40 minutes. So it's half mile in, half mile back. And save the Echo Canyon loop for another time. Just running out of time today. Definitely want to be prepared. Carry your 10 essentials, plenty of water. There is no water available out here. Stay on the trail and be aware of changing conditions. Let's leave everything that you find undisturbed. Okay? Let's go down. Let's go to the Grottos. It's about 4/10 of a mile or 0.6 kilometers. Upper Rhyolite Trail 1.6, Hailstone 1.6, Ed Riggs 0.2, and then Nature Trail 0.5. A lot of choices, but I think I'm going to go this way to the Grottos and check that out and see how it goes. I don't anticipate it'll take me too long to get to the Grottos, but we'll see. Even though it's off season, we had a lot of nice people on the trail today. Pretty cool indeed. But I think this is probably going to be enough for me today. I have to come back sometime, camp in the park, and do the entire loop. I just met some guys that were going over the entire loop, and that was pretty wild. They did every mile of trail that there is in the park, and that's pretty neat. I feel like I'm walking past monoliths from Easter Island or something. The big giant heads. Look at this. This is crazy. See a sign down there that says Grottos. Let's go check it out. You have grottos here. You got these big old giant boulder looking things. It's really not a boulder, it's just like the wore down parts of the rock. And you can go in here and check it out. I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna walk up in here and see where it goes. I'm not sure how far it goes, but this is wild. Look at this boulder just suspended up here. There's a rock just up there. This goes back down to the trail. There's some further stuff up here. I hope the big boulder doesn't follow me. There's a little crack there. Some cracks lead back to the main trail. Here's some more areas over here. This is wild, y'all. So wild. And there's another boulder just hanging out. This is the way out. So we're gonna take that. This is so crazy to think about. This is the end of the grotto here. Turn it around. You've got the big rock up here. Actually got a couple of big rocks that are hanging out, so to speak. And then look over here. We have a beautiful view. Look further down this way. There are some more rocks up top. And there's the trail down there, so I'm gonna head out. I don't know if this is a famous balanced rock, but it is a balanced rock, along with some other pinnacles out here. It's really cool. If you look close enough and use your imagination, you can probably imagine shapes or faces. This one kind of looks like a cat or a lion sitting up, like one of those Chinese lions. That thing is just crazy looking. I wish I had more time to do the entire Echo Canyon Trail, but I have to wait for another day. If you're looking over the top of my vehicle, this material was ancient stream beds that was deposited 32 million years ago, red for oxidation or rust with the iron in the soil. They were buried by volcanic ash from the eruption that formed what we know as Chiricahua National Monument. There's those white veins over there, which is interesting. I thought they were roots at first, but they're actually gypsum, which is used to make plaster of Paris. That was deposited as percolation through fractures in the stream deposits. Over time, it precipitated from the water, filling cracks. Probably difficult to see in the bright sunlight, but there's a formation up ahead called China Boy. It formed from erosion from the layered rocks which had volcanic eruptions millions of years ago. There was another volcano called Turkey Creek, 10 miles south, that erupted at least 9 times. So you had a lot of different layers that were popped out. A final depth of about 2,000 feet. How crazy is that? Here's a graphical representation of it on the sign. And China Boy up on the top right here. I'll try to get a little closer so you can see it. So right here they're trying to show us a sea captain, which is a shape up there. If you look way up there, let me see if I can zoom in. Right above where the tree goes, looks like there's a face. He's up there going, "Arr!" They're calling this the Organ Pipe Formation. And I can see why. Look at those massive columns of rock there. That's just wild to me. It's getting dark, but I wanted to go to the Faraway Ranch real quick. Won't be able to make it to all the little stops here. Let's look at the map here. You have the ranch home. It's a round trip hike of half a mile. Probably have time to do that one. You have the Stafford cabin, built in 1880. That's about a mile or 20 minutes. So I might be able to go to that one. That's probably about as far as we'll be able to go today. But this is the historical story of people here. The prehistoric, the Chiricahua Apache, the Spanish people, the Buffalo Soldiers, ranchers, the Alien Conservation Corps, they've all been here. And this trail you can take your dog on, but you have to have him on the leash at all times. This talks about the deal here. I definitely want to go to the ranch house. It looks pretty sweet. I wanted to go to the furthest one first because I want to try to get back to my vehicle, but it's still somewhat okay. Look, there's a deer over there going across the road. I don't know if you can see them. There's a couple of them. There's some that I came across by the main house, which we'll talk about in a minute. Stafford built this cabin with a dirt floor and one room. Additions are made. You can see on here they built the cabin using logs cut from the canyon here. Originally it was unpeeled logs, squared, notched at corners, chinked, gravel with mud. There was a Sonoran earthquake that shook the chimney, knocked it down in 1887. The Ericksons purchased it from the Stafford children in 1918, which that's Faraway Ranch people. Let's take a look at the cabin. You can see some of the additions. The wooden part on the side is an additional room that was added on. The block with the original wood was the original part. How would you like to have lived in that cabin back there? Leave me a comment and let me know. What would be your worries, fears, and expectations? There's Faraway Ranch. Almost like something out of a Hollywood movie. The Ericksons own that. They actually operated as a working ranch, a dude ranch, for many years until it was sold to the federal government to make the park in the 1920s. There's a closer view of the home. Look at this old bathtub. That's crazy. Bet a lot of you out there have never seen a bathtub like this. Yep. Well, just like the other home, it evolved. It was a primitive structure and they built around it, increased its size. They called it Faraway Ranch because it was so far from everything. Over here we have some outbuildings. I believe some of these were cabins for the dude ranch operation. Of course you got barns, stables, that type of thing. This is probably a pump house or an outhouse, that stone building. Here's a beautiful view as we get close to finishing up. Look at this old windmill blowing the breeze. But that windmill's seen some things. What do you think? Now we come back full circle to the Ericksons cemetery. They were pioneers on this land as far as making permanent European settlements. You had several Ericksons that were buried here. Just makes me think, as I approach my 50th birthday, what legacy am I going to leave on the earth? Hey, future Craig here. Left you with a deep thought, didn't I? Think about that legacy that you're going to leave on the earth. Is it going to be something meaningful? I hope so. I hope I myself will do the same thing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those below. Thanks. Got more content coming that I think you will enjoy, and you don't want to miss that. I do appreciate you watching. I do appreciate your comments and your likes and everything that you do to help me, and I hope that you're having a great year so far. Until next time, watch one of these videos and I'll see you on the trail. Okay, bye.